Hey, it's Chuck with Loudwire Nights, and this is Loudwire Nights On Demand. We had the spaceman himself, Mr. Ace Frehley, hanging out with us, celebrating his new album, 10,000 Volts. This first aired on Thursday, February 22nd. Let's do it. Well, we are very fortunate on this show to get to hang with rock stars and musicians and songwriters, and sometimes we get the incredible fortune of hanging with living legends. And though you could probably describe tonight's special guest in a million different ways, I think living legend might just be the absolute best, because not only does he have an untouchable, legendary career over the last several decades, but he continues to forge an untouchable, legendary career ahead. And he's doing that with the release of his latest solo album, 10,000 Volts, out tomorrow, Friday, February 23rd. That's right, tonight's special guest is none other than the spaceman himself, Mr. Ace Frehley. Ace, thank you for being here, man.
Hey, it's my pleasure, Chuck.
So, Ace, I just got to ask, man, listen, you formed KISS in 1973. Today we're talking about your 8th solo studio album, your first album of original tracks since 2018 Spaceman. How are you feeling, man, celebrating this new album, 10,000 Volts?
Well, it's nice, to be in your 70s and be able to put out, in my opinion, one of the best records I've ever recorded.
Well, and it's not just like a nostalgic trip, right? Or a trip down memory lane or anything like that. Like, you're creating new significant rock that matters today, and it's not just looking back. And that's got to feel pretty good too.
Right. Well, I think the biggest difference between this album and some of my previous records is I collaborated with Steve Brown from Trickster. We co-produced it and co-wrote most of the songs.
How did you and Steve get connected?
Well, I've known Steve, but only on a casual basis for years. And my fiancée, Laura, she talked me into giving him a call because she knew Steve. She was a fan of Trickster in her 20s. Finally, I gave him a call, and he sent me the song. And I forget what it was titled, but there was a line in it called Walking on the Moon. And I said, hold it, stop right there. That's got to be the title of the song, and that has to be the hook of the chorus.
I love that.
He came over, we rewrote it, and I think it came out great.
At this stage in your career, at this stage in your life, were you nervous about working with a producer, co-writing some of these songs with him or anything like that?
I don't ever get nervous. I make other people nervous. I'll never forget, I was in Germany walking with the producer of it was like the biggest television show in Germany, kind of like the Johnny Carson of Germany. And he's walking with me down this long hallway. He's going, "Hey, so you nervous?" I go, "No, I never get nervous. I make other people nervous." And he's
That's good, man.
I never forgot that.
That's good. So working with producer, co-writing, co-producing, that's no big deal for you.
Well, Steve was really excited about working with me because I'm one of his idols. He told me a little later on, after we had worked together for a little while, that me and Eddie Van Halen were his two idols, guitar players of all time. So he was really excited about working with me, and I was excited about working with him once I started listening to him play guitar and the ideas he came up with. And the great thing about Steve is he's been engineering Pro Tools for over 30 years, so I didn't have to hire an engineer when we were recording. So it was just me and Steve in the room.
Yeah, that's like a dream then, for it to be so much in your hands, so much in Steve's hands, and no one else.
I love working either alone or with one other person.
Yeah.
When I recorded my 1978 solo record, it was just me and Eddie Kramer and Anton Fig. That was it.
I love that, man. I love that. I'm curious, Origins Volume 2 came out really at the height of kind of the beginning of COVID, right? It came out September 2020. Crazy time. Like, if you look back on that. 2 years before that, you released Spaceman. But how long have you been working on 10,000 volts? I mean, were you working on this throughout COVID, right after Spaceman? Like what's that kind of look like?
Working on this for over a year,
Okay.
on and off, between touring and whatever else I was doing. And it got off to a slow start. And, with COVID and everything, I caught COVID twice or three times. I don't remember. And I was working with Pepe Castro from the Blues Magoos. You may have heard of him.
Yeah.
They had the big hit, We Ain't Got Nothing Yet.
Yeah.
And I stole a guitar solo from that song and I put it in Love Gun. So it's funny the way things, come full circle, because Pepe Castro grew up 3 blocks from me in the Bronx. And now he lives 30 minutes from me, right across the New York state line. We're still close friends. He ended up marrying my girlfriend, and unfortunately, she passed away of cancer, I think, when she was only about 40.
Mm.
But she was a wonderful gal, and piercing blue eyes.
Yeah.
It's just a knockout. And
so the start of 10,000 volts was with working with Pepe?
Working with Pepe and working with my engineer, Alex Salzman. And I had Matt Starr at the time playing on drums. And I had written a couple of songs by myself, and they came out okay. And, they weren't bad, but they didn't knock my socks off. And I was just kind of moving along and trying to come up with other ideas. Then I decided to call Steve. And once me and Steve collaborated together on Walking on the Moon, things started speeding up really fast, because we were both touring at the time we were recording the record. So, it wasn't like an everyday affair. But every time we'd get together, we'd write at least one song.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, not completely, but at least we'd get the vocals done. I wrote most of the lyrics. Well, I probably wrote, 60, 70% of the lyrics. And Steve came up with some great, guitar riffs and rhythm parts. And he's an amazing guitar player in his own right. And like I also mentioned, he's a great engineer. And he's also a great vocalist. He sings lead in all his bands. So when it came to doing harmonies, it was real easy for him to lock in with me. So he sang 90% of the harmonies on this record.
Man, it does seem like a recording sort of perfect scenario, right? To have this guy who you respect, who obviously respects you. I mean, he calls you one of his idols, but who can also carry the weight of so many different things, so that it really can just be the two of you collaborating, working together. And that probably, even though you can't do it every day, like you said, it probably made the time that you were together just so powerful because of that connection and what he was able to bring.
But our personalities naturally hit it off. And he had a studio in his basement. He lived about 45 minutes from me. And sometimes we'd alternate. We'd go back and forth. I'd go to his house, we'd be writing a song, coming up with lyrics. And next thing you know, it was like 6 o'clock and his wife would come down and go, dinner. So I come up, I'd eat dinner with his wife and 2 kids. And, before you know it, I'm doing magic tricks for his kids.
I love that, man.
So it's just like, very relaxed, very easygoing situation, no bad vibes. And, last month, me and Steve went out to dinner with his wife and my fiance, Laura. And everybody hit it off. I met the owner of the restaurant, and he pulls out his phone and he's got videos of me playing at BB King's and stuff. No, he was a huge fan. So, it was fun. The whole album, I'm almost sad that, the album's done because we had so much fun recording the record together. We never had an argument. We had disagreements, and he wasn't afraid to disagree with my point of view. But one way or the other. You know what I used to say to him? I says, "Okay, you don't agree with me. Let's do it your way, and then let's do it my way, and A B it."
That's great, man.
That's how we settle any differences of opinion. And
I feel like that collaboration, that connection that the two of you have, I mean, it comes through the music, right? Like the music is, yeah, I mean, like you said too, I mean, it's probably one of the best things you've created, and that what a statement to make at this point in your life and your career. But I mean, you hear that, man, and you've mentioned "Walking on the Moon" as kind of that first song that you and Steve really that sort of like opened your eyes to working with Steve and what.
Yeah, one of the things that me and Steve kind of disagreed a little upon is he wanted to get things done quickly. I mean, I did as well, but I like, the sound of analog amps and microphones and stuff, whereas a lot of times, to make things go faster, he'd want to use a plug-in from Pro Tools that sounds like a Marshall.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like a Marshall. It almost does. But as far as I'm concerned, there's nothing like a Marshall amp with a couple of mics on it, and you blend the sound together. And I mean, you can't get feedback really out of those
plugins, yeah.
Plugins, but you can with an amplifier. And that was I always strive for the analog sound. I mean, eventually it's going to be turned into digital anyway, but if you get that original analog tone, which is my tone, and I haven't changed my sound since I joined Kiss. And people tell me it's my guitar style and sound is very recognizable.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I love that you maintain that too, because I think that comes through. I mean, the first time I heard 10,000 volts, it just punches you in the face in the best possible way, man.
Oh.
And so you hear that, right? You hear that tone, that iconic tone, but you hear this sort of, this fresh, forward thinking music too, that, like I said, it's not a trip down memory lane, man. Like you're forging ahead.
And it's fun to play live. We performed it live 3 times now, and I'm doing a cruise, Monsters of Rock, March 2nd through 7th, and that should be fun.
I mean, listen, man, you listen to these songs, you see these music videos, right? 10,000 volts, Walking on the Moon, and just released today, Cherry Medicine. Like, clearly you're having a blast, like you can hear that come through the music, but I love seeing you too. And I think Walking on the Moon is just a brilliant music video, man. And 10,000 volts is great.
I think see the video of Cherry Medicine, because we got 6 chicks in black leather. Because one of the lines in the chorus is, "You make me feel better when you're in your black leather."
Yeah.
Cherry Medicine, you're the one. Cherry Medicine, gotta get me some. I mean, it's a fun, easygoing rock and roll song, not too complicated to play.
Yeah.
And kids can gravitate towards that, especially kids that have only been playing guitar for a couple of years.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
The only tricky part about it is capturing my guitar solos.
Yeah, listen, I'll leave that, I play guitar a little bit. I leave that stuff up to you, man, for sure. I'll just mess around and have fun. You mentioned the cruise and already played 10,000 volts live a few times, but I know you've got a handful of live shows on the horizon. Do you plan to do a tour, like a full-blown tour, all in support of 10,000 volts?
Yeah, we're planning on it. I just hired a new agent, and the phone's ringing off the hook, and every other day, a new gig is coming in, and I've just got to okay it. And so there's a lot of shows, and hopefully we're trying to, do all the festivals in Europe this summer.
Yeah.
But I've been having problems with my passport. So if we can get that, worked out, I'm definitely going to be playing all the rock festivals in Europe.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, we'll keep our fingers crossed for that for
It's been
sure.
a long time since I've been to Europe.
Yeah. If anybody's listening who has any control over Ace Frehley's passport, let's get this solved, man. Listen, man, Spaceman came out in 2018. I mean, it feels like a lifetime ago. I don't know. Does it feel like a lifetime ago for you?
I take life one day at a time.
Yeah.
I got sober 17 years ago, and that's like a saying we have in AA,
One day. Yeah.
One day at a time. And that works for me. I don't really dwell on the past very much. And the future, I think about, it's really weird. Sometimes I can prophesize things, and I have this ability to know what's going to happen. And like when I was 16, I knew I was going to be a rock star. Nobody believed me, but it happened. And, I can always sense some things, not all the time, but sometimes important things. I make the decision just on, the feeling in my gut. And in most cases, it turns out to be the right decision.
So with 10,000 volts wrapped up, getting ready for some live shows, do you have a sense of something else to come?
I think it's probably going to be as successful as my 78 solo album, with New York Groove.
Yeah.
It may even surpass it, because with the internet now, we hired a special guy, Perry, who has got me on all the different platforms, TikTok.
Yep.
What are all those other?
Oh yeah, for sure. Instagram and Facebook, all the social media.
Facebook.
Yeah,
I've had Facebook for a while, but I never went on TikTok before. But it's funny, because I go on TikTok and I see a lot of these old videos that are being posted of me when I was in my 20s, and I'm reading comments and girls are going, "Oh, he's so gorgeous," and this and that, But
maybe you should take a trip down memory lane then, man. That's not that's not bad.
I don't know. It's just funny, but I think the fact that we're on different social medias now that attract different people. I think we're gonna get some younger fans at the shows coming up who are interested in what I'm doing today and like the singles that they've heard so far. And this 10,000 volts broke all the records for me. Over 1 million views on YouTube, over 1 million downloads on Spotify. It's just taken off.
Yeah. Well, I love seeing it, man. I think you're right about a new generation of fans coming into it thanks to this album. So I think you're right, man. I think it's going to be a big one, and it's out Friday, February 23rd. Cannot wait for the world to hear it, man. Thank you so much for hanging. I opened the conversation calling you a living legend, and I mean it, man. So thank you for being on the show, and hopefully we can welcome you back soon.
My pleasure, Chuck. I just want to say hi to all my fans and thank you for all the support. I love you guys. Without you, I wouldn't be where I am today, and don't stop believing. What song is that from?
Journey. Don't Stop Believing.
Right. Okay. Well, you gotta pick and choose where you're gonna steal from.
I love it. Ace, thank you so much, man.
All right, Chuck. Have a good one.
That wraps up this episode of Loudwire Nights on Demand. Stay caught up with everything happening in the world of rock and metal on the Loudwire app and at loudwire.com.